Okay, hey everyone, I'm Amanda and this is Wellness Me Up. This is where we are talking about all of the very fun and weird and wise and just wildly supportive sides of wellness with coaches across the globe who you can actually connect with. Basically, when you're just done pretending that everything is fine in life. So today I am joined by Meghan Deford, who is a coach with 20 years of leadership experience in the nonprofit field. Meghan graduated from Lumia's coaching program and is currently working towards their ICF accreditation. And so I asked Meghan to just sum up their approach to wellness. And here is what they said. Let me read from this screen. Okay, so I focus on simplifying wellness for midlife women, helping them stop feeling overwhelmed by what they should be doing and instead build realistic routines that work for them and their changing bodies. I help clients slow down enough to get honest about what they actually want and then build a practical plan to move towards it. My work blends values, clarification, identity work, and structured action planning. We don't just talk about goals, we align with them with who you are becoming. I help high achieving people move from I want to do that to I did that by pairing reflection and disciplined follow through. So let's just see if what Meghan has to say is can help you get a little bit more wellness up.
Awesome. Do you love that like total
Love it.
corporate bullshit that
Right? Oh my gosh.
No, it's so funny. I was like, yeah, I was really on a roll with that one. I can tell. But yeah,
Yeah.
I help women because I love women. Aren't women the
Mhm.
best? And I am a woman, and I just help women get in touch with those goals and dreams that live inside of
Mhm.
us. And
Mhm.
for whatever reason, there's like a variety of reasons why we just get stuck and can't move it forward. So
I know.
that was a lot of words for just like, let's get our shit done and follow
Like,
our dreams. Like, let's
right?
do
Who the
it.
fuck actually am I and who do I want to be? What am I doing? Where am I going
Yeah.
to? Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so fun, right? And that's the thing, right? We do these podcasts and we have these forums. It's like, hey, let's fill it up with like what you want to put
Right.
out there. We wear a little bit
Right.
of a mask in terms of writing what looks good on paper, but then who the fuck actually am I and who can I support?
Right.
Like, how can I support you with the
Right.
things that you're doing? I
Right.
love it. So good. Okay, so I have questions for
Awesome.
you. This podcast, I like to do 6 questions across. And and I know we just did the little blurb and who you are,
Sure.
what you're going to help with, but there's a nice little umbrella of like 6 areas of wellness that we're focusing on this podcast. So we talk spiritual wellness, relationship wellness, emotional, mental wellness, we've got physical wellness in there too, life transitions and identity. And then there's also financial and purpose wellness.
Mhm.
So really curious after all of that introduction, what areas do you support people through? But what we're really curious about is how you actually support them on this
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. I think I should have paid more attention when you were saying the 6 different areas of wellness, but it's really and I think we talk about this maybe in the form a little bit of what does wellness mean in general. And I think all of those things are covered, but I really work with women on identity work, and how they can get more aligned with themselves and discover themselves and rediscover themselves over and over and over again, and having the tools to be able to do that, whether they're with me or with someone else or by themselves. So which of the 6 categories would you say that falls into?
Oh my gosh, right? Like sometimes like I just want to say like all of them
All
because
of them, right?
you don't know what area people might be working on and where they need that support. So
Yeah.
it's like what are you stuck on? What are you trying to move through? I can
Yeah.
help
And
you
I
through
think
this.
that's really the fun thing. So if I'm looking at these different categories, I would say it's probably more life transitions and identity.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up also being a lot of emotional, mental, and spiritual, if that's where someone wants to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that's the really fun thing about coaching is that people are coming to you for maybe what they think is one thing, and you start to uncover this beautiful rainbow of a person and their hopes, their dreams, their desires, their fears. And you can start figuring out where they need the most support together, right? This is a co-created experience that we have. And sometimes I'm not the person that's going to be able to help coach you through X, Y, or Z, and we can help get those folks to wherever they need to go. So, but I would say probably those transitions, emotional work and spiritual work is mostly where I focus.
So usually I comment, but the comment ties into the next question.
Yeah,
Just so nice because sometimes people they have no fucking idea what it is.
for sure.
That so if we look at those areas of wellness and they're like, well, I don't actually even know where it is I want to start because they move like
Mhm.
how you said they can move into each other a little bit. You might have a little flavor of life and identity stuff, but what you really might need some support with is the spiritual things
Yeah.
and that emotional, mental well-being. So it's like if somebody stumbles across you
Mhm.
and then they come to you and they say, I don't even know what the fuck it is I actually need. I just know that something needs to change.
Yes.
So if somebody said that to you, how is it that you actually meet them in that moment to work on these things?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think it's the same way that I meet people who are like, I have the 5-year plan and I want to do this and this and this and this, because ultimately we need to take a step back and understand where it's coming from. Where is the, I don't want to use the word confusion, but where is that feeling of misunderstanding, misalignment coming from? Where are the feelings of, I have this 5-year strategic plan for my life coming from? And just listening and starting to ask some questions to get them to open up and to explore themselves. There's in our work, which I love, there's no judgment here. Like I don't have a plan for you. If there was a plan and one piece of advice that worked for everybody, we wouldn't be talking right now. There's lots of modalities that you can use, and there's lots of experiences that people come in with and where they want to go. And so if someone's coming to me and says, I just have this yearning, I have this longing, I can tell that there's more, but I don't know what it is. And that's actually usually the client that I get, who is presenting as I have the 5-year plan, because these are women who are really successful. They are leading teams, they're hitting goals at work, they are showing up in their communities and for their families and for their friends. They're the quote unquote responsible one. And then they feel bad and they feel this longing when they can't move their own things forward. And it's almost this feeling of, is this it? And feeling guilty about it because their life looks perfect on paper, right? They have the social media perfect life and they're grateful for that life, but there's just something else, a longing there. So you either go in one of two directions where you're like, I have no idea what this is and I need to explore it, or I know what to do. I'm going to do a strategic plan and knock this off, and then you can't get started with it. So I really like to think about, okay, tell me all your dreams and goals. Tell me that secret yearning inside of you. Tell me all of those feelings and where they're coming from. And then the values work that I do is that is all awesome. And I like people to think about their hero's journey, right? Like, let's take away all the disbelief that we hold for ourselves, the shoulds that we hold for ourselves, start dreaming really big, start getting to that core of who we are and what we want. And then let's back up and talk about our values. Because oftentimes when I ask people, and I was one of these people, right? What are your values? You think you know what your values are, but then when you have to articulate it, you're like, uh, and you can come up with like maybe one, but most of the time it stops people in their tracks. And that is often where I'm seeing the misalignment of, I have all these ideas or goals, or I'm not even really sure what I want to do. I should be happy. I shouldn't feel this way. And what we start realizing is we need to get back in touch with our values and making sure that that's aligning with the different areas of our life, actually, in all the areas that you're talking about of wellness, so that we're living in I'm going to use the woo word of like, we're living in a state of flow. We're living in alignment. We are living according to our strategic plan. We're living our mission and vision. Um, and one of the things that I think a lot of clients that work with me is that in my nonprofit work, which you were so kind to put that in there, in my leadership work, I've led teams to raise money for great organizations, millions of dollars, right? And the most successful teams, I started to look at it and say, why did it work? Like, we had a lot of diversity of experience, of ages, of roles on teams. Sometimes it was really big teams, sometimes it was smaller teams. Why did it work? Who were the successful teams? And it is a function of all of us bought into the mission and the vision. So even when we were doing the individual work, we went back to the mission and vision, which is corporate speak for your values. And if what you were doing didn't align to that, we didn't do it. And we were all working from that same page. So I took that idea, bringing it back to ourselves and bringing it back to not only the individual, but the communities you want to be in. And I hope we can talk about that a little bit of like this work cannot happen outside of community. And I think sometimes we get a little bit too individually focused. Obviously, we live with ourselves every day, but we have to make sure that we're also doing this work within the community that we currently live in and that we want to live in.
I think that that's such a big part of it, right? Like who that community piece, that liaison piece, who is part of our ecosystem,
Yeah.
and finding that language to help people with it. Like when you said, people sometimes don't even know how to articulate their values and what that is. We might have it in our brains, in our heads, we could be flashing these images, these thoughts together, but we don't know how to translate what's happening
Mm-hmm.
out. And so sometimes being able to sit with somebody that can help you figure those things out, it's going to help you find that language. And once you start speaking it out loud, you're then able to articulate things more and
Right.
integrate things a little bit more and just make sense of, oh, this is what's going on for me. And this is how I can move forward.
Yeah.
So it's just finding that language piece sometimes that can be a little bit of a barrier for people as they start digging into what's going on here. Why am I feeling this way?
And so
So,
many times we're so in our heads, right? Like I always joke about like I have thought
yeah.
bubbles going on and I need to bring them down.
Mhm,
And I am an auditory processor. Like I have to talk it back out and I have to hear it.
mhm,
But when you're talking it out with someone, when you are physically looking, I mean, we physically looked at a values page with over 50 values on it. And I say, go for it, circle as many as possible. And then we start to whittle it down to about 3 to 5. Um, we oftentimes don't take the time to stop and think about that. We barely take the time to stop and think about ourselves and what we're doing and checking in with ourselves, much less these larger concepts, like you're saying, that we almost feel like we know it. But when you actually stop, you're like, oh, I love what you said. It's like a feeling you have, but what does that really mean? And a lot of times people are surprised by their values. And they get to typically we get to like the 10 or 12 stage and they're like, I don't know how to start whittling this down even further. And you start to notice similarities within some of the values. And it's like, okay, well, is this sort of a subsection of this one thing? And it's just really helpful for people to stop and sit with that. And I think one of the surprising things in the work with me is there's a lot of quiet time together. Like, think about it. Don't respond to me immediately. Stop and think about it. And I'm here. Take your time, right? You don't have to have the right answer. We can revisit this later too. But really, we are constantly bombarded with images and sight and sound and news. And I mean, my God, I am like chronically online and I love it. But sometimes I'm like, whoa, like, I need to stop
mhm.
scrolling. So to be able to take that time and to articulate and to check in and tune in with yourself, it's so critically important.
It really is. Oh my gosh, it so is. So many, it's so interesting when people talk, right? Because our brain just starts to light up when we think of other examples and how this might
Mm-hmm,
apply. And I remember as soon as you started saying that visualization of circling your
mm-hmm,
values, I was brought back to when I was a child and youth worker. And one of the things we used to work through was the Virtues Project. And you're right, there we would focus on a virtue every single week. And there was similarities between each of them. And it
mm-hmm,
was fun, really meaningful learning, not even for the kids and the teenagers that we worked with, but for us as staff and adults to look at our own selves and introspect. And we would use it as a place of debriefing
mm-hmm,
all of the time. So, and we would want to model those behaviors and model those virtues and values
mm-hmm.
to the kids that we were working with. So, if accountability was up there, how are we modeling accountability this week? Is this something that is important and do I value this? Where did I learn these things from? Because how do we show these things to other people if we don't know them as well, right? So it's
Yeah.
like
And
it's such a
and
good visual.
Yeah, and that's where I'm sorry, we're like, this is
Yeah.
exciting.
Like, what is this? Yes.
Yeah, but that's where it also gets into the spiritual side. And I think that oftentimes people hear like virtues and values and think like Christianity, like I'm in the United States. So like thinking about Christianity and evangelicalism, and that's not what we're talking about, right? I mean, there is a spiritual aspect to this, but this isn't about one religion. This isn't about one modality of it. This is a way of living. And I want to acknowledge it's hard. Like this is really hard work. And it's hard not only to stop and to identify and to check in with yourself and to say, yes, these are my values. And your values may change over your lifetime as well, right? But then you've got to make the decision to live with those values. And those
Right.
values may be challenging how you're showing up every day. And a lot of our values may be at odds with power structures that we live in. And it doesn't mean that you have to, eat the whole elephant at once. And I don't want people to get overwhelmed by that, but I do want to acknowledge it can be difficult work. If accountability is one of your values, you got to show up that way. If community is one of your values, you have to show up with that way. And living in community is hard. It is hard. And it's beautiful and wonderful. But I don't want people to think like, oh, I identified my values and it's all rainbows and butterflies.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
difficult.
everything's so good. Like everything's
It's
sparkly
so
and fun and
cool.
whatever. No, this is like work that you actually need to dedicate yourself to.
Yeah.
It's things that you actually need to pause and think about. And I
Yeah.
remember you said that before, like you actually you were saying you were alluding to that. You said, I want you to stop and think. There's a lot of silence between us. We're going to think about these things. And it makes me think of that acronym. It was such a powerful acronym that I've used for years. And it's literally stop and think. Is it
Hmm.
true? Is it helpful? Is it
Yes.
inspiring? Is it
Yes.
necessary? Is it
Is
kind?
it kind?
And
Yep.
is it like all of these things just start to come together and just if you don't know what you're going to do, just stop and actually fucking think for a minute.
A
And you can
hundred
give
percent.
yourself a chance to how do I feel about this? Does this fit into my life? Do I need to pivot in some ways because I am not in alignment with what it is that I'm saying that my values are? Because you're right. If you say that you are an accountable person, guess what? You got to show up with that accountability piece.
Right.
Community. I'm starting to do that now, living in community after living
Yeah.
10 years on my own. And I'm like, this is hard stuff. Like, this is, but it's fun and easy. But I'm like, how much can I do this? And what's that integration piece look like for me?
Correct.
So,
Correct. And how
yeah.
do I show up in different communities? Right. And
Mm,
and I will just say this, as a white woman, I think oftentimes we show up differently in different communities, like everybody does. But there are times when your role is to be quiet and your role is to learn and to listen. And I think that can be very difficult, especially with the women that I work with. Very well intentioned. I was right there too. And it's like, you know what? I need to use my privilege to support others and others who have dedicated their entire life to this versus like, sweet baby angel me that's
mhm.
like, oh, just figure this out for myself. But it's like, yeah, join the club.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep,
so,
exactly.
and community doesn't mean agreement in 100%. And you
Hmm.
can be in a community within your family and have disagreement, right?
Hmm.
So again, I think that's why it gets back to the idea of values and how we show up for each other. I love the think
Hmm.
acronym. I used to say this to my teams. I was like, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Because that's something I tried to lead with in my professional life. I still lead with it personally and professionally. And how can I help? Right. So this doesn't turn into gossip and this doesn't turn into something else. And that last piece I think is always really helpful when you're working within groups. How can I help? How can I use this information to move all of us forward? And sometimes it's shutting up.
Yeah, it is, right? Just sitting.
Yeah,
Like just
yeah,
sit a bit. You don't need to do anything. Like there's nothing here that needs to be done, but I can just observe and listen and participate in that way.
for sure.
So, which can be a really tricky thing to do.
Yeah.
So then when you are working, and you've given so many examples already, but is there anything like that tends to come up a lot, like a pattern that you've noticed that's something that just tends to unlock people when you are working with them on their goals, their wellness realizations? What is this like epiphany moment, this shift, this moment, the little bit of a truth bomb that just starts to propel them forward instead of staying in that stuck energy?
Yeah, it's the aha, and it's
Yeah.
really boring. Oh my gosh, Amanda, it's so boring, right? And usually
Mhm.
it's on week 3 or week 4. So week 1, we're like vibing, we're excited. It's usually 90 minutes of sort of like talking through all this stuff. And like it might be the first time this person has ever said this out loud, right? So you feel really good. And then week 2, we're going to get into those dreams and goals and what your life looks like, because we can't take action when we don't have context. So I think that's a huge part of this. And then on week 3, we've got like, what's your next best step? Okay, what are you committing to next week? What would really light you up now that we've gone through your values, your goals, your plans? We were talking about how you have someone you need to pick up after school, and you have a parent you take care of, and you have, a 50-hour-a-week job, whatever it is. And what's the one thing you can commit to next week? And they're stoked, like one thing. All I have to do is one thing. And then it's like on week 3 or week 4, and they haven't done the thing yet. And again, there's no judgment here, but the question is why? And they start talking all around it. Well, I had lunches to make, or, I had soccer or whatever, whatever it is. It's like, okay, cool. So no, why? Do you really want to do that thing? And that's typically where it starts to break open, of like, they think that what they're saying is in alignment with themselves, and that they want to become a director at their job. But really what they want to do is open a coffee shop for dog adoption or something, right? And it doesn't mean that they're going to do that
Mhm.
the next day, but then we start to unpack that. Well, why are you telling yourself this? And start working on the idea and the action of giving yourself permission. Give yourself permission. It can be okay to want to be the director and to open a dog coffee shop, right? Those two things can be together. But why are you holding yourself back? Where is that coming from? What is that about? Is it about judgment? Is it about feeling you're not enough? Is it about permission? What? And starting to unpack that again, we revisit our values and we start to work through that. So it's really boring. It typically is, we're doing the work, they get to that place that they have gotten to. It's the reason they're talking to us. And now we start to unpack that a little bit more. We're beyond the excitement, and now we're in the work. And it can be hard for people. I've had people cry. I've had people just stare back at me for a while. And I'm like, just sit with it. Like, it's got to come up. It's got to come out. Um, and then we start to work on, what would it feel like to give yourself permission to really dream? Not all the stuff you just told me. Who are you? And what does that look like? And that Amanda, and I've been there too, like, that can be scary, right? Because it can look really different than the seat you're sitting in. It's that, I always think of that Talking Head song, like, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. Like, that moment cracks open of, I'm grateful for all the things I have, and still I want whatever it is. And giving yourself permission for that is that aha moment for people. And then we just work through it, right? There's no magic. We just work through it. We work through it depending on the individual. I think that's part of the hard thing with coaching, is it's so individualized. And people dunk on Mel Robbins all the time. And we don't have to get
Mhm.
into Mel Robbins. But one of the things I do point out to people is that she's talking to 9 to 11 million people a week. She is talking in bumper stickers. That is how she's built her brand. And I think you can get something from her, but don't assume that this is one thing works for everybody. It's not going to work for everybody, because we are universes within ourselves. So a lot of this work that we do is so individualized, and getting into that aha moment is going to look differently for everybody. But it's typically, they get stalled. We go back to
It
our
does.
patterns, right? We do. We just
Mhm.
go back to our patterns.
We can go back to our core beliefs all the time. And this image, that the metaphor that I love to use so much in life, is the charcuterie board. Because we all go
Yes.
to somebody's house, and somebody might have a little platter out. Well, it's not just one thing. on
Right.
the platter, there's a little bit of variety because one person may like crackers, one person may like cheese, one person might like the
Sure.
crackers and the cheese together.
Yeah.
Throw in a grape or whatever. Oh, like there's
Can't
just different
lose.
things,
Yeah.
right? And different kinds of cheeses. One person might like spicy. Like we are all different. So we all have a
Yes.
little bit of a charcuterie board and flavor of things that are going to work for us. And these truth realizations that help us in our wellness goals aren't going to be the same going
Correct.
like for everybody because your core beliefs are going to be a little bit different. It's like perspectives. We
Yes.
can all look at I love doing this one exercise with people and it's we can all look at an image of a TV and if I was to name this something different other than a TV, what would you call this? What would you call it? Would it be a
Interesting.
television? What would it be?
Yeah.
Somebody might say magic life window. Some
Right.
people might be doom scrolling in a box. Like I have no idea what people might call it. But nobody's going to name it the same thing if it didn't already have that universal name for it. So
Right.
it's so and you're right, like it's when you figure out who you actually are and when you drop the mask and then you can get real about it. But
Yeah.
it's nothing too exciting. You're right. It gets just like, oh, that's it. Like
Yeah.
it just seems like that's so obvious though. That's so
And
obvious. Like, how did I not know that? Hmm.
totally. And I think there's two things with it. One, give yourself permission that you don't, it's not like you have to shed everything that you are. I don't like this concept of like you're starting over. You're never starting over. You're starting from experience. You're starting with every version of yourself that has led you to this place. And even if you're not 100% with that, very polished, gone through ChatGPT summary of who you are yet, right? It never should be. You should always have a little bit of messy in there because life is this beautiful, expansive experience that we get to have, right? And that's sort of the spiritual side. I'm a big believer in we are the universe experiencing itself. And when you think that way, man, it blows up all the opportunities that you can experience. But that's where it gets tricky too, right? It's like, wait, I'm going through this moment of like, what do I really want to do? What do I want to hold on to? What do I want to get rid of? And that's hard. And there is also oftentimes grief that comes with
Hmm.
that. And I just want to acknowledge that for people. Like this is exciting and it's cool to think about all of these possibilities, but we can't emotionally bypass all the work that goes into it, right? And so I think that surprises people too. Like, why am I sad about this?
Hmm.
And what am I getting rid of that I really loved, but it just doesn't serve me anymore? And I think that's a really important part of the work. And again, it's boring, it's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it's part of that work where we have to show up for ourselves and acknowledge like, oh, this is what's going on for me right now. And to your point, what's the charcuterie board of all the different systems and structures I can use to
Hmm.
support myself through this and get to know myself better and get to move through this experience in a way that I choose, not how Mel Robbins or Meghan Deford tells me to do it. I get to choose how to experience this moment.
Hmm. And so I think you just answered one of the questions that I lead into and ask that, like, what are your
Yeah.
clients usually most surprised by after working with you?
Yeah.
And it sounds like a big part of that might even be that release and the grief that can come with things and just moving through those beliefs that happen that we think of, but we haven't necessarily really just processed yet and
Yeah. Yeah.
accepted, right?
Yeah.
And it
I
can
think
be
that's
heavy doing that stuff.
it can be really
Mhm.
heavy. And, yoga has been an incredible force in my life that has
Mhm.
helped me work through a lot of different things. But that's not going to work for everybody, right? Like there's lots of different ways. So you have to support yourself as you're moving through this. And I think of it like you're finding different tools to put in your backpack, right? Like I think about Dora the Explorer, and she's got her backpack and she's going on adventures, and there's lots of different things that she can pull from. And that's what we're building here. We're building your toolkit, we're building your backpack. And what works for me may not work for you. And that's part of this journey that we're going across and going on together. And the other piece that really surprises people, we touched on before, is that they're surprised because they've had all this success. They've got the title, they've got the degree. I mean, these are badass women, these are amazing women, and they can't answer a quote unquote simple question. And or they hit play of the answer they've given the entire life, which is why they are sitting here talking to me now, right? And I don't get into therapy. Like, I've referred people to therapists. It's different work. And I think that's really important. But that is where they get surprised. It's like, why can't I answer this? And it's surprising to them. And then they get into the should mode and the defensive mode, and like, something's wrong with me. And like, nothing's wrong with you, babe. You've been serving everybody else in a playbook that wasn't built for you. And there's parts of that playbook you like, and that's awesome. So let's take all that experience and start building a structure and a backpack and all those good things that work for you. And you get to decide. You get to decide what you want to do with it.
Let's build your new playbook. Let's
Yeah.
literally build your new book. Like that,
Yeah.
that one was good. It was a nice story that
For
we had
sure.
for a while. And now we get to rewrite some things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
change it a little bit. And that's what goes in the backpack. That's
Yep.
very fun. It's a really helpful analogy, right? Like what's going to go in what's going to go in your backpack? What are you putting in it? What can you bring along the
Yeah.
way? What can you leave? It's like when you're traveling, right? And you're like, holy shit, I'm going to be over
Yes.
in luggage when I go to the airport.
Yeah.
What? I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay this a price and I don't want to pay extra for this. Something has to stay behind. What's coming out of the pack? Or
Yeah.
maybe something happens along the way and you trip and mess up your knee or you get hurt or something. Now you got to bring in a knee brace. You got to have something else in there that's going to support you with
Right.
this, right? So what's going into the pack? What are you packing? Yeah.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that trust in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that everything that's gotten you to this point, just as a reminder to everyone who's listening or watching this, you have figured it out every single time. As you are listening to this right now, you figured it out. It may not have been fun. It may not have been what you wanted it to be, but you figured it out. You have to trust yourself. And I think all of us struggle with that, right? So what if I don't bring a knee brace and I fall, and then what? Well, okay, then what? You get help. Yeah, you
Yep.
figure it out, right?
Yep.
Someone told me this once, and I think about it a lot. He said to me, "You don't have to keep putting boulders in your cart." And I think that, to your analogy of going to the airport, it's true. Like, what is literally weighing you down? What is yours to carry and what is yours to release? And when you release things, I think that's where the self-trust comes in as well. I can release this and I will be okay. And if something happens, because I think many of us, I don't know about you, I know I was built or raised rather to think about the worst case scenario. Because if I could figure out all the worst case scenarios, I could be in charge. And I've released that. I've released that. And I'm 43 years old, so this might resonate a little bit differently for people who are younger. But I think the older you get, the more you realize, like, I didn't need to hold on to that. That was a false protection. And now I think about, what do I need in this moment? And what's the best that can happen? And I don't think like nothing bad is going to happen, but do I need to bring, Tamiflu in case I get sick? And do I need to bring a knee brace? And do I need to bring this? And do I need to bring that? No, I don't. Like, I don't. And if I need it, there's pharmacies in the country I'm going to. There are
Mm-hmm.
people who can help. You're not alone. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge piece of it, is trusting yourself and really thinking about, what is physically weighing me down? What is mentally weighing me down? What is spiritually weighing me down? And where's that coming from? Do I need to hold on to this? And if the answer is yes, cool. And if the answer is no, saying
Yep.
thank you and releasing it. And you can always pick it
Yep.
up later, right? If you're like, well, actually, I did need that, pick it up later. It's there. It's not gone forever.
Yep. So many of us, right? I think have growing up with oh, something bad's going to happen. Bad things always happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this always go on for us? Oh, could anything else horrible happen this year? Like and then it's those feelings, that thought process that goes with it. Then we go into, what do I have to pack to make sure to prevent all of these things from
Correct.
happening, or the just in case stuff that happens. And when we can actually release that and get rid of that, it's
Yeah.
incredibly liberating
Yeah.
I'm going to be fine. I just have to trust that I'm going to be fine. You're right. There are pharmacies, there are doctors, there are people that can help me. I'm going to be okay to do this. I
Yes.
don't need to carry this in my backpack and carry it
Correct.
along with me, right?
Yeah. And I think I know you grew up in Canada. I think in the United States, we are a fear-based economy. And
Mm,
when I have two kids, and it was really highlighted for me when I was pregnant. And the baby industry and the mother industry alone is so fear-based. I mean, my God, how do any babies survive, right? And
mhm.
when you can start noticing it, and that's another thing that I do with clients, is like, you don't have to act on it at first. Start noticing whatever they're working through, notice it without judgment.
Mhm.
And that sense of like, you can't trust yourself, you have to buy this product, you have to gain this thing, this physical thing, and it's constantly around you that you're not enough, constantly. And
Yeah.
especially as women, we are never enough. You are damned if you do, and you are damned if you don't. So you might as well just live your life your own damn way, not
Mhm.
harming anyone, right? Like no active
Mhm.
harm in community, but letting go of that is so freeing. It is so freeing. And I do think as well, and I was raised Catholic, I do think I'm very like traditionally strictly Catholic, right? And I think part of that too, in this idea of Christianity and your reward later, there is definitely an idea of the more that you suffer now, the greater your reward in heaven. And if you believe in that, that's fine, but explore that a little bit. How is that showing up in your life of what you said? Why did bad things happen to me? I've raised my kids with, you're not good at math, you're not bad at math.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's things you just need to study more. Like you're not, no one's
Mhm.
inherently bad at math, no one's inherently bad at singing or dancing or art or English or what, or writing language, whatever. Sometimes we just need to spend more time on things than others. And when you release that sense of judgment and that sense of fear and that sense of lack, oh my God, the way that your life opens up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It's incredible, right? And on that journey, and this is one of the favorite parts that I'm doing on this podcast is that, there are no check boxes that are going to get us to these spots ever. There's no like, oh, did this, did this.
Yeah.
Certainly there's tools and there's people that we can work
Yeah.
with and all these things. But to what you were saying earlier, we can't predict things that are going to happen to us too. So we can't live life that nothing's ever going to happen. We just need to trust that we're going to be able to figure out our shit as that goes on.
Yeah.
So, because life is random and absurd and I don't know, human,
Yeah.
that's where all the good stuff learns and like lives, and how we're learning in it. So, I'm calling this part of the show, calling the wellness is not linear. What the fuck wheel? And I spin it because so many things happen in life that we
Yeah.
can't predict. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen every day when we wake up. We couldn't steer this conversation in a certain way or any of these things. We just are going to have a conversation, see which way it goes.
Yeah.
And so, full disclosure, I'm going to share screen, and I
Okay.
did use ChatGPT to come up with the questions for us. So, I
Totally.
have no idea what's going to happen.
Oh boy.
We are going to spin this wheel, and it will ask you a question, and it could be anywhere between like, oh my gosh, like that's so deep and profound and lovely. I love talking about this.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like why are we suddenly crying in the shower listening to Celine Dion? Like I don't know where
Oh,
that came. I don't know where that came from. I keep seeing these
yeah.
TikToks everywhere of this gal doing Celine Dion bits, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just so in love. And her husband's doing all like throwing confetti around her, and I'm thinking, yes, please. So
Love
maybe
it.
that's where that idea popped from. But I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of energy is going to happen when I spin this wheel. Conversation can go anywhere.
Cool.
But it's so amazing because we can just be us and we can answer the things that are going to pop up for us. So let me get, let me share screen, and then
Do we
that
need a
way
drum roll? Like,
we might.
yeah.
It's very fun. It does have a sound effect thing too. It's pretty
Ooh,
fun.
cool.
I use picker wheel for it. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and spin this. We're going to see what chat wants us to answer today.
All right.
Okay. What is the hardest thing for you about being the one who helps others heal?
Yeah. And the confetti, I love it. So what is the hardest thing for me about being the one who helps others heal? Um, it's easy. I'm not the one that's healing you. You're healing you. Right. I mean, and I think that the hard part as a practitioner, and you're, I always think of myself as like I'm your cheerleader that also like asks you a lot of questions and holds your hand while we're doing it. Um, is not to put too much of yourself and your own experiences into it. And I am someone who is very relational. And oftentimes it's like, nope, don't share that. Or like, no, like where is that coming from when I'm asking a certain question, and making sure that the questions and the conversations that we're having are about you so that you can determine it. That's the other thing. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And it goes back to that fear economy of you need a magic pill, you need to be better. This isn't about optimization, right? This is about living with integrity and eating up life in the way that you want to. So for me, it's really making sure that I'm coming in and checking myself, especially with someone that I relate really closely with. But to everybody who's on this journey, you're helping yourself. Even by listening to this podcast, you're helping yourself. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're just exploring yourself and you're figuring out what's the best next step for you and how you want to live your life. What do you feel like is the hardest practice of it?
Mhm. Um, and so like I completely appreciate what you're saying here, right? It's not our responsibility to do the
Hmm.
work for you. It's you doing that work for you.
Hmm.
And I think one of the trickiest things that I have done when I've worked with people and I've coached women in a women's center, I
Hmm.
do a lot of group coaching. That's the coaching stuff that I do. And it's just helping them find their voice to speak up and
Hmm.
feeling like they are capable of
Hmm.
doing these things. That's one of the trickiest things that when I'm in connection and I'm talking with people, I'll be like, hey, here's the baton. It's your turn. You are
Yeah.
capable of doing this. I can fill the space, I can fill the talking and do whatever, but I can also am just as comfortable sitting in the silence, waiting for you to be capable of showing up and talking about what it is that's important for you.
Yeah.
And one of the exercises I remember when I first started out coaching gals on self-esteem, and one of the exercises I used to do is, well, let's have a gratitude journal. This was like 6 years
Hmm.
ago, doing all that
Sure.
stuff. And I love gratitude. It's one of my core values is having gratitude.
Yeah.
But what I quickly loved and what I learned from somebody that attended my workshop, she was like, Amanda, I have done the gratitude journals. I've done this. I'm so tired of doing these things. And she said, I've done my highs, I've done my lows, and I just want to focus on the meh. Like the meh, like what's my
Yeah.
meh day? Like I'm like the
Yeah.
constant. And that inspiration, now when I start my self-esteem workshops and I do this with the gals, what I say is, and I give them this example and I say, this is what happened before. But at the
Yeah.
beginning of the workshop, I asked them why they were all there
Uh-huh.
and what they were working on and what they want to be doing. And so I said, you will not be doing a gratitude journal. You're going to actually do this goal. This is what brought you here.
Yeah.
So this is here. So you are responsible for that stuff.
Yeah.
And so just helping them feel that confidence that they're capable and they're in charge of what it is
Hmm.
that they're learning. They don't need to do what I say they need to do. They could do whatever they can just live life like an alpaca and do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like they can do whatever they
Yeah.
want to do. I just give them that permission.
Sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, anytime we have an exercise or do things, I said, you can take this, you can do it,
Yep.
you cannot,
Yeah.
you can change it. You can say, this actually doesn't work for me. Like just giving them that permission. And it's that aha moment, like, I can change this. I can do, yeah,
Hmm.
you can do whatever you want to do. Be the
Yeah.
alpaca.
Yeah.
Like do whatever you want to do. So
I
it's a little
host a month.
tricky.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I host a monthly workshop and it's called Pause and Reflect. And there
Hmm.
are themes that we explore within it. And it's journaling based. And we come together and we eat and we, kiki and all that kind of good stuff. And then we have a meditation that brings us into the space. And sometimes it's what you think of as a meditation. And sometimes it's me reading a poem, sometimes, whatever it is. And I tell everybody in advance, bring a journal, bring a pen, but like if you have emails you need to get through, use this time however you want it. If you have bills that you haven't paid, if what you want to color, this is your time to do what you need to do. And again, we don't have to give anyone permission. What we are doing is saying it, and ultimately you are giving yourself permission for that, right? And again, I hope people that hear this understand that ultimately no one's giving you permission. You are giving yourself permission.
Mhm.
But that idea of letting people be in a space where they meet themselves and understanding that as someone who's along this journey with them, it it takes working with clients, because we're in this process too, right? It takes working with individuals or within groups to start growing in that space. I love that. Like, I just want to be in the meh. Like,
Just
you're
this is
like,
what I
oh,
want.
that's cool. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And someone there that day, that's the first time they ever did that gratitude journal, and they're in a totally different
Mhm.
space in their journey. And to be able to do that together is
Mhm.
really cool. I live, this is a total aside, you can cut it out, but I live in Florida and I love Disney. Like, first of all, I'm obsessed with the operations of Disney. Like, how do you get hundreds of thousands of people through every day? Like, I'm fascinated by that, but also just the experience and all that kind of good stuff. And I often think about, like, this is someone's first time here. And there's people who are like Disney ninjas that like know all the tips and tricks and da 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 da. And I love that everybody can have that experience and their own experience within one space. And I love that you pointed that out, because that is that's part of community and how we
Yeah.
grow individually and with each other as a whole.
Mhm. Disney is very magical,
It
like
is.
a
Yeah.
place and all these things. Like it's, there's twinkly lights everywhere and all of the fun
Yeah.
stuff. Like they think right down to like the garbage cans, everything. They pay attention to detail at
It
Disney.
is.
And there's a lot of stuff happening. I'm not cutting any of this out because I had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
great. It's they pay attention to detail and they pay attention to the experience.
experience.
And you can have someone who is, it's their first time, you can have someone where it's their thousandth time, you can have old, young, whatever, whatever, people that don't even like Disney and end up having a good time, right?
Mhm.
But they're really understanding that experience and that and their core values. And I don't want to get into all
Mhm.
the corporate stuff, but it really
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
they understand who they are as a business and who they're serving. And if you're thinking about it that way, who are you and who are you serving, right? And what are your core values? What do
Right?
you need in this moment?
We could replace Disney with just the word wellness.
For
Like in
sure,
all of this, like
for
who are
sure,
you? What are we doing? Exactly. And there's going to be magical parts in your wellness journey, and there's also going to be like disaster areas and
for
whatever
sure.
else too that are going to
Yeah,
happen. There's
hurricanes come through, baby. Like, it
Yeah, that's
happens.
right. Exactly. It happens. The
Yeah.
ride can break down. Like that does
Mhm.
happen. And, then it can also be really magical as you get on it again
Totally,
and it starts working again.
totally.
So, yeah. So then, the last question I would like to ask then, since we're talking about the wellness, is the name of the show. So, what does Wellness Me Up mean to you in your own words?
I have a great answer for this. I thought about this. And in the work that I do, I want to be really careful. And we spoke about this, that there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, there's things that we want to work on. If you're a shitty person, yeah, there's something wrong with you, I guess. But like, people who are listening to this probably aren't. So, there is no major flaw that you're working through, right? But I think oftentimes we think about optimization, and we're seeing it in so many different facets of our lives now, right? It's all about, like, how can we produce more faster at the lowest cost, and all of that. And you are not a bot. You are not an economy. You are not separate from nature. You are nature. And nature isn't about, this squeeze every single resource out to be the best it possibly can be. Nature goes through seasons, and nature goes through hurricanes and sunshine and harsh conditions and ideal conditions and rest and growth. You are nature. You are not trying to optimize yourself to be the best human ever, right? Like, that's not what we're talking about. And so wellness to me is about experiencing the entire journey in a way that is you living with integrity, and integrity with your values, and integrity within your community, in a way that it's just showing up naturally, and you're doing those reps and you're living those values, and you trust yourself, you are living in alignment in a way that you don't even really need to think about it anymore. I mean, that to me is really the ultimate wellness goal, whatever in those 6 different categories that you're talking about, that's going to get you in a place where you're not constantly thinking about like, well, is this right? Is that, all of this. It's a trust in yourself, and it's a knowing of yourself in any one of those facets. And those different wellness categories that you talked about, you may be on different journeys in each of them. And you may end your journey in different places with each of them. And that's okay. That's totally fine. And you're going to explore different things in your life. So I guess instead of saying what wellness really is, it is not this idea of like you have to be this perfect being at all times. And I think wellness is also giving yourself permission to change and grow and evolve, to rest, to just be. I mean, my God, like, let's just be and enjoy the lives that we are creating and experiencing. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it does. My cheeks are sore, like from smiling and
Oh,
thinking about it, right?
yeah.
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 No, but it really is like, and like I'll say this all the time too, when people start like just starting, and if this is the first time they're really paying attention to their wellness and what's going on, or they're chiming in and trying to unpack a little bit more about who they are, right? And shining a light on themselves. Nobody's got it all figured out. We've all have things and tools and amazing things to help us put the pieces of the puzzle a little bit, live with integrity, as you were saying
Yeah.
too, and give us some really meaningful examples and ways and perspectives to look at things.
Hmm.
And we get to figure out how that works and how we get to live in alignment with those things as we are growing and learning and evolving.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and yeah, things like you said in nature happen all the time. We could have the best picnic day ever planned out. We're going to pack all of our things in this basket. Storm will come right in. Well,
Yeah.
how can you pivot then? You can still have a
Yeah.
picnic on the living room floor, or do whatever else. It doesn't need to be outside. So we can just
Right.
pivot and it just ebbs and flows, right? Like wellness is not just one curated checkbox of things that you
Right.
do. And it's not,
Right.
yeah.
And I think the word
Mm.
that I was looking for is moderation. I mean,
Ah,
the reality
yeah.
is, you can
Mhm.
be on
Mhm.
a journey with natural herbal South American medicine. We were laughing about this before the show, talking around that. You can be on that journey, and also please go to your general practitioner and please take advantage of science and how the
Mhm.
advances there. Like, you don't have to blow up your life for wellness. And I
Mhm.
think so many times people go one way or the other in this
Mhm.
extreme, and not only do you get to decide for yourself, but you get to mix these different modalities, right? Like, I am
Mhm.
someone who is a spiritual person. I'm into astrology. It has like really changed my life. I'm into yoga, which is a spiritual practice. I still like, I gotta be honest, I'm still Catholic at my core. No one does pomp
Mhm.
and circumstance, and I love certain aspects of my Catholicism that are still
Mhm.
with me, right? And I don't have to give up that Catholicism. And I don't have to give up the fact that I'm an Aquarius sun, Sag, rising Cancer moon. And I don't have to give up the fact that I really don't understand a ton of the stuff in yoga that I'm learning, but I love it. Like, I love it. And I have a drishti when I brush my teeth in the morning, and all of those things can live together. And I'm not putting that on anybody else, right? Like, that's my thing and my journey. It causes no
Mhm.
harm to anybody else.
Mhm.
And you can look at it this way: I take vitamins and I also take medicine when I'm sick, right? And those two things can live together. And I also, when I start to feel a cold coming on, I live near the beach. So I go to the beach, and that like salt air knocks it out, right? So
Mhm.
you can live with lots of different tools in your toolbox. And
Mhm.
this isn't about blowing up your life. This is about an exploration and making intentional decisions that work for you. And I mean, my God, I think everything that we've talked about is like, just stop and think.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple, but we're so busy and we're so distracted. And if you can give yourself 5 minutes, if you can give yourself 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, just stop and check in with yourself and think, like, is this really what I want to be doing right now? Is this a decision that's living in alignment with my values and who I am? And if you say, I don't really know who I am, awesome. That's a data point.
Mhm.
Think about that a little bit more. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be a major blow up. Just it's small steps, small, I always say this, like small wins every day add up. And that's what we're talking about.
Megan, if people want to work with you, how are they
Yeah,
going? Like, if they're like, okay, I want to sit by myself and I
yeah,
could do these things,
totally.
or I
Totally.
could sit with Megan and she can help me figure out my shit.
Yeah.
How do they get in touch with you to learn more about you, who you are, and all the coaching services that you're offering?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way is Meg, Deford, DEFORD.com. You can find me there. I'm on socials, which you can find there and all that kind of good stuff. And we can have a chat and see if we work together and, if we're a good fit for each other. I think that's another part of this. It's got to work for you, right? Like I may not, some people probably roll their eyes this whole time and other people are like, oh, that's totally cool. I get that, right? And so making sure that it's a good fit for us. But you can find me on TikTok, Instagram at Meg Deford. I have a YouTube at Deford Coaching where I have a podcast that's about regular people doing amazing things. And then I have another podcast called Scrambled Eggs with Richard and Megan. You should be on it actually. And
I'm in. Yeah.
awesome. Richard Talaferro is a coach, and I really appreciate how he practices. And we talk about coaching things. We have guests on, and it's just a little, hopefully people get something out of it that they can apply to their life. So yeah, megdeford.com and all the other things that I said.
Oh, so good. This happens every single time after because I will hit end record. And then you
Yeah,
and I keep having a freaking amazing conversation after.
for
We're like, well,
sure.
why wasn't that in the
For sure.
podcast? Or
Yeah.
why didn't we
Yeah.
talk about that? So if anything is coming up to mind now before I hit end record, is there's anything else
Mm.
that you want to share with anyone working on their wellness things, the audience, about the coaching you offer?
No, I think I yapped a lot, so thank you for giving me the space to just chat it up. And I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone who's listening. And hopefully, we got your wheels turning a little bit. And one exercise that I do with folks that I'll end with, I guess, is oftentimes when we're stuck, I like you to think about your future self. What does your future self look like? What are they doing? How do they feel? Where are they? You know? And I want you to meet that future self. So if it's safe for you to close your eyes, if you're cooking, don't close your eyes, or driving or something like that, or you're just not comfortable, but close your eyes and think about that future self. What are you doing? What are you wearing? How do you feel? And I want you to meet that future self. I want you to hug that future self. And I want you to hear what that future self has to say to you in this moment. And your future self is saying, thank you. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for thinking. Thank you for trusting us. And then go have a cry because it makes me cry every single time. It makes me cry every time. But if you don't know what to do, you do know what to do. And your future self is going to thank you for it. So trust in yourself. You're beautiful. I'm proud of you. And let's have fun with it, right? Let's have fun with this. This can be some heavy work, but it's also really fun and exciting work. So that's where I'll leave it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here today. And that exercise is just a really, really meaningful way to just tie everything together, right? We can have fun and we can do this, but it's that idea of sitting with our future selves. It's what we're here for, right?
Yep.
When we are with that person, what's going to make us look back and say, yeah, those were the good choices that we made for this, and I'm feeling good about this. So I
Yeah.
like with gratitude
Yeah,
that we
absolutely.
worked on these things and we discovered and we unpacked and got
Yeah.
real about it and got bored with it too. Like
Yeah.
not all of the things. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Thanks so much, Amanda. This was great. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so that is another episode of Wellness Me Up. I hope you all have a meaningful day and we will catch you next time.
Bye.